Have you ever wondered why you're struggling so much to find investors to either loan you money for your deals or for you to package deals onto? Then go no further. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down each steps you need to take in order to attract unlimited funds into your business so that you can package on deals to your investors. Before we go into that, if you're new to the channel, my name's Jamie York, and on this channel, I post 3 times a week, posting around everything property, investment, business, and mindset. And if you're interested in that, make sure to smash the subscribe button and the notification bell. And if you could do me a little favor, just tap the like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm, helps us get out to more people. So let's jump in. We're going to be going through the end-to-end process on how to actually get in. So this isn't about marketing to the investors, although that's really important too. It's about onboarding them in the right way and getting to that point where it's money in your pocket, which is, let's face it, what we really care about. So step one, before we even start, it's get rid of this. Who do you have in mind? And this is called the avatar. Okay, so not that little kid that can bend air and stuff like that. Please tell me you know about that, and if not, grow up. The avatar. So an avatar of a person, what do they actually look like? So when I started, here's what I thought. So I'm going to put this to red. So I used to think they need to be a multi-millionaire. I feel like I've spelled that horribly wrong, but actually I think wrong. Okay, multi-millionaire. They need to have a $1 million+ portfolio. They're probably going to end up being around 65 plus. Maybe they're retired and looking to get their money working for me. And actually, here's what I realized: 65 plus. No, funny enough, I mean, I look relatively young now. When I started, I looked and sounded like a 12-year-old girl. So not many 65-year-olds wanted to invest in me. If they already had a huge portfolio, I very quickly realized that actually, why would they use somebody like me? They've got great contacts already in helping them build up. And also, once you get to that multi-millionaire status, and when they're working in corporate and that, they have IFAs, independent financial advisors. And the problem with that is the property industry is not regulated. And from my own experience, they do not like decent interest rates. I'll give you an example. I once had a kick-ass product out there at 8% return, and the IFA said, if you can come back to me at 4%, then we can make that work. Same product, same risk, but it's just the way it's perceived in the market. And how many multimillionaires IFAs do you know? Point made. Moving on. And if you are one, congratulations, you're one of the very few. So then I realized, what do you actually want? I find the perfect ones that have 100 to 250k. I'm not saying if they've got more or less that I wouldn't work with them, but this is the perfect one. They are out of area, which is 6 areas for me: London, Singapore, Hong Kong, the UAE, Tokyo, and South Africa. Those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 areas that I tend to focus on, and we're going to be expanding out upon, because I don't like people that are local. I want to do my job, I want to get on with it and make people money, and I want them to have in their mindsets that this is a hands-free investment and they're working full-time. Usually corporate jobs, doctors, dentists, traders, investment bankers. They are well-educated individuals. They earn good money. They work hard for their money. They understand the profit that's there in property. They understand it's a safe and substantial asset-backed investment, and they want to stop working hard for their money and start making their money work hard for them. So number 2 with this is measuring expectations. Now, here's what I used to do. So when they used to come in, especially if they've been on some sort of course, and I'm not blaming all course providers, I've got courses as well. I just like to deliver reality rather than the dream. You'd have people going, right, I want 25% plus BMV, below market value. I want to make 21% ROCE, return on capital employed, and at least 10% plus yield. And they'd be throwing all these things at me as if it made them sound intelligent, which, you know, they are the names in the trade, but you can always tell when somebody's off because they say ROC and BMV about 30,000 times in a 10-word sentence. somehow. And actually what I used to do is I'd just go, yes, yes, yes. And that's great. I'd have so many investors, or I'd have none. Now the thing is, actually, to everyone else, it looked like I had loads of investors. To me, it looked like I had loads of investors. But I actually had hardly any that were willing to invest, that actually were going to be going for these opportunities and were going to be serious about moving forward, right? And so that was never going to work for me at all. And so what I started doing is realigning expectations. So they still came to me. So they say, Jamie, I want the BMV, ROCE, and I want this yield, whatever it was, and I want delivered to me with a bloody rainbow attached to it. And I'd say, that's great. That sounds incredible. Do me a favor. First of all, if you find something like that, let me know, because I'll pay you more for it. What do you mean you'll pay me more? I want property off you. Yeah, I get it. But if you want that, give it to me. And if somebody says to me now, I want 25% BMV, I say, no problem. Come and talk to me 7 years ago. And you'll genuinely hear me on the phone saying, I say, look, I'm taking the mick a little, but this just doesn't exist. If that comes along, I'm buying it. You know, if I can buy it myself, I'm going to do that. But let me tell you what I can help you achieve. And then if that's something you want to be on board with, let's work together. So I can get you 8 to 10% return on capital employed. I want all of my cash out of the deal. It's not going to happen. I can find you something that after refinance is going to leave you up to 20,000 in the deal, and you're going to make some solid returns on that money. I can get you in areas that are going to give you capital growth of around 5% plus. I can get you in great areas where they've got Ofsted rated schools of excellent, where you're going to have a solid, substantial, slow growth return that will make you a substantial amount of money over the medium to long-term investment range. That's what I can facilitate for you on a completely hands-free basis. If that doesn't work for you, you're not the right client for me. You will be shocked at how many people suddenly turn around and go, you know what, you're the first person that said that, I'll do that with you. And you'll be surprised, or you won't be surprised, that 85% of them go, well, I don't want to work with you. That's great. We actually had one the other day where they'd said, our fees are too high, and it doesn't work for us. They end up going with another sourcer. They messaged the other day, my partner Sam, messaged him saying, just so you know, we actually found another sourcer that did it cheaper, and it's ended up being a nightmare. They promised this, this, and this. We've got drug den in the property, blah, 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 blah. So price is what you pay, value is what you get, and you need to state the value that you can provide and measure those expectations at the start. So under promise, over deliver. Don't over promise and under deliver. Okay, so the next part of this is making sure you've got a couple of bits of commitment up front, and this comes in 2 stages: POFF, POID. I don't know why it's making me chuckle. And an NCA. So POFF, proof of funds; POID, proof of ID; NCA, non-circumvention agreement. What this is going to do is it's going to guarantee that they've actually got the money in the first place. It's going to confirm that they are who they say they are, and it's going to confirm that they're not going to try and circumvent you and cut you out of deals, okay? So get your POFF, POID, and NCA, and that's going to make everyone happy. Now, if somebody goes, oh yeah, I'll show you all of that when you find a deal, I go, that's great. Listen, there's a couple of people I think that might be better suited for you. William H. Brown, and they'll go, oh, that's an estate agent. Exactly, look, we're not estate agents. We don't work like that. We work with vendors that need to move quickly and with clarity and security. And so they have the confidence that when I'm putting in offers, I mean business. Now, if you're serious about this, this is what I need to show me that you are 100% ready to move on these properties. And if they don't, by the way, I'll still have them on like a secondary list. But if they've not shown me this, I'm not going to be calling them up first. I want to make sure they are 100% on being able to move forward on their deals. Next is be as specific as possible on the outcomes. And what I mean by that is it's kind of like measuring the expectations, but here's what's going to happen next. The next thing that's going to happen is I'm going to send you an email. On this email, it's just going to clarify what's said in this conversation. What I often find with a lot of conversations is we forget what's said. Maybe I've misread something, so I want to read it back to you and have you confirm what I think your expectations are. And often what happens is as soon as you get off the phone call, you go, I wish I asked Jamie this, okay? So that's what's going to happen next. Then once you've sent the proof of funds, proof of ID, and you've signed the NCA, I'm going to start a bespoke search for you, okay? And this bespoke search is going to be specific to your requirements. So I'm not going to be throwing stuff at a wall and hoping it sticks. When you get an opportunity in front of you, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to provide you with 3 opportunities. It's going to be one at a time. And this is really important, okay? Now, a majority, I spelled that wrong. Anyway, opportunities. Most people say yes to number 1. But I want to give you an opportunity. The reason I'm confident, by the way, is I'm not going to put anything in front of you that doesn't match your criteria. Now, this is scripts that you can be using, by the way. However, if for whatever reason you say no, you need to give me feedback so I can improve it for the next deal. And then I'm going to give you 2 and 3 chances. After that, by the way, an investor has never, ever, and genuinely never got to the 3rd property. If you get to the 3rd property and you're rejecting it, at that point, we will be holding your fee and we will no longer be looking for a property. Now, if people have a problem with this, it's showing again that they're not that serious about moving forward, okay? I'm going to be on a retained search. I'm going to be working my butt off to find these people the right opportunities. And if they're not serious about this, then I don't want to be working with them in the first place. So now I want to go through the process of actually getting a deal. So what's going to happen is a lead is going to come in. A lead is going to come in and your stage 1, it could be from a Facebook ad, it could be a leaflet, could be you've got a great relationship with an agent, whatever it is. And then what you're going to want to do is qualify. Now, all I'm doing in this qualification call is really a couple of things. One is, do you have a property to sell? Sounds really stupid. The amount of leads that come in and they're like, oh no, I thought I was selling a washing machine. It's like, it says, are you looking to sell your property? Conversation for another time. People are idiots. Number 2 is, how quickly are they looking to sell? Gives me an idea if I'm going to have to use cash bridging or mortgage, or for my investors, some details on the property. Enough for me to go away and do some analysis. I'm going to ask them to WhatsApp some pics, plus a video walkthrough. Doesn't really matter about the quality. What I'm really looking for on that is, are they, you know, when somebody goes like that, oh, here's the room and I'll just show you over here, and put the camera down, you know they're trying to hide something. And number 5, and this is the big one, you are trying to build rapport. I actually don't really care. This sort of section will take about 2 minutes of the phone call. This will take the other 13 minutes of a 15-minute phone call. Is just to get to know them, and all I'm trying to do is be memorable to that person. I want to find out about the kids. I want to find why they're selling. You know, where are you going to move to? Oh, I'm moving abroad. Wow, where are you moving to? In Spain. Whereabouts in Spain? I don't know. Google it, right? Oh, that's amazing. Have you been to this place? Have you been to that place? I've heard great things about it. Never been myself. Oh, how long have you been over there? I've been every time for 14 years. Well, do you not get bored of a place? Mate, you never get bored of, you're just building rapport, right? I want to buy a caravan. Amazing. What caravan? Oh, this 12 berth caravan. Oh, static or mobile? I love the statics. Whatever you're doing, you know. You get an idea of the examples. I get. Okay, then you're going around and you actually do your analysis on the property to work out how you're going to go in. Then you're going to go in and you're going to submit your offers. Okay, so here's how you're going to do that, and I'll expand around this in further educational videos. Why am I struggling so much today? In educational videos. But here's what you're going to do. You're going to go in with a contrast offer, and then a round, and then specific. Okay, different ways of doing this. A contrast offer is, Got two options for you, Mr. Mrs. Vendor. I can either buy my property at my price and your terms, or your price and my terms. What does that mean? What it means is I can buy it in the next 2 weeks, and I know that's sort of something you want just to get away from the property you issue, but I can complete that, I can make that work as best as possible. Obviously, no guarantees, but I'll push everything as fast as I can to get that done. Here's the price I'm gonna be at, and your price will be here. Or what I can do is I can pay your price that you're wanting here, but is it that you want to sell the property, or is it that you just want to move on? Because what I might be able to do is agree the price, but pay it in a couple of years. So your price and my terms, right? i.e. more likely a lease option. But the reason I'm doing that, and I'll do separate videos on negotiation and stuff like that, but in negotiation, they're not left with yes or no, they're left with A or B. Okay, so will they say no, neither of those work? Yes, but it's given them a couple of options to pick between. So it's not, does this work for you, yes or no? Is, will this work for you, A, or is this the best option for you? And then what I'll do is I'll start going down that route. So I'll go down a round number, 80K. Then they go, look, there's no way that's going to work. All right, let me look at my numbers again. All right, I can do 82,000. And these aren't just bullshit offers. This is around where we want to be. Look, it's really not going to work for me. That number, okay, look, I'll look at my numbers and I'll just put forward my best and final. And it might be, right, I can do 82,477 pounds, right? Always ended in 7 or 5 in this game, right? So the whole point of that is you can't force somebody to be able to accept your offer. If they've got a mortgage of 85 grand, which you should know already, they're not going to be able to do it. But by being specific like that, psychologically for people, it's going, geez, like where did they come up with that number? And you hear people going, that's a really random number all the time. And I'll go, look, I wanted, like, even if a pound makes a difference, I'd rather go and give you my absolute max so that you know I've just looked at everything that I can do, okay? Then what's going to happen, let's say they accept that. There's two options of tying it up for you if you're packaging on the deal. Now, there's two different types. Number one, you can put it under contract, or you can get it in legals. There's pros and cons of both. If you get it in the contract, what I would do is I would get it in some sort of option agreement, maybe that gives you 28 days to shift it on, and you can just put £1 down. So it has to have a consideration. A consideration, if you don't know, is a financial input to a property. And so if I put an option, a purchase option on there, talk to a solicitor if you don't have that. I'm not going to give legal advice over YouTube at least. Then what you can do is you can put down £1. And what that does is it secures the property, and it's formalizing the agreement. And then you go out there and you've got to find a buyer within 28 days. Not complete, find a buyer, okay? Obviously a lot of pros of that. The downside of that is the contract is not a one-pager. It's a decent length contract, and some people do get scared off. It's like, oh my God, what am I signing here? What am I doing? And stuff like that. So they need to have separate representation, legal representation. The other way is get it in legals. Now, I'll be honest with you, unless we are making money on the back end of a property, say for example, we've got somebody buying it at 100 and I've got it agreed at 80 or something like that, and I'm just charging a fee, more than likely I'll go into legals. And the reason I like that is a big commitment, because they're going to get their protocol forms that are an absolute ball ache to fill in. And most people in the open market that don't have this mindset of investors, if it's in legals, more than likely it's a done deal for them. Okay, so a lot of the time we'll do that. And what we'll say is, look, a lot of other people out there, they're going to ask you to sign these contracts to tie you in and all of that. We don't do that. Okay, there's no contract. My word is my bond. If you're agreeing to sell it, we'll get it in legals tomorrow and we'll get this sorted. And it cost me about 20 quid to get our solicitor to send out a pack. So I'm literally just paying for a bit of admin and all of that to make sure it gets locked in. It's less formal. It's definitely less security. So you need to weigh those up. And hey, try both of them. They both work, they both have pros, they both have cons. I just find that I might mix between the two sometimes, by the way, but if I've got a little bit of a vendor that's been screwed around, which a lot of these have, bear in mind, they've got companies that say their property is worth 100, that have offered 80, which is a fair offer for a cash offer, got to the day exchange and gone, oh, I'm really sorry, we can only pay you 65. So it makes sense that people are nervous to use people like us buying the properties, okay? So those sort of people, I won't try and tie them in. I'll just say, look, let's just get it in legals. I'll pay for your legals. Use my solicitor. We'll get it tucked away for you. You've got no risk, no expenses whatsoever. That's my preferred method, but they both work and have pros and cons. Okay, so this is a longer video than normal, but I really want to just go through the end-to-end process so that you understand it. So now the vendor is tied up. They're in legals, right? So now we're going to go sell this. Now we're going to go actually do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to find that investor. We're going to match them up with this property, put it in front of them and say, hey, look, I need a decision. Are we going to do this? Yes. They've already signed an NCA, so they're not going to go behind your back. The reason I like that is I just want to share openly. And if somebody's going to cut me out of a deal, am I going to go sue them? Probably not. Depends how much I'm making in the deal. But this is a very quasi-incestuous industry. Everyone knows everyone in packaging, okay? And especially the players that are actually playing the game properly. So it's really cutting their nose to spite the face, and I'll just never work with them again and put their name out to the syndicate that we got going on. So yeah, I wouldn't really worry. It's happened like 1 in 1,000 deals for me, so it's not going to happen. So then we find an investor. They've already done the NCA, proof of funds, etc. And then what I'll get them signing is a reservation agreement. So a reservation agreement is confirming our terms of business. Here's what your expectations are of us. Here's what our expectations are of you. And you are agreeing you are buying this property for this price and you are paying us this fee for it. And we're going to take £1,000 usually plus VAT off you, unless they've paid up front as a retained client, which a lot of them do now. So that's what will happen. Then they instruct legals. Usually we'll try to use a different solicitor of ours, so we know the solicitors, we know they're good, and then we'll start that legal process. Now, I'm not going to deep dive into the legal process, although that would genuinely be a good video to do, so we'll definitely get through that. But essentially what happens is the vendor gets their protocol forms, and then once that's done, the contract is issued to the investor. And in general, they submit their searches. They will instruct their broker if they're buying with finance, and then inquiries are raised. And then what will happen is it goes like that, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Actually doesn't take that long. Inquiries, if people are on it, it can get done in a couple of days, like we've completed on a property in 2 days before, but they tend to take about 3-4 weeks because they've got other cases. The lending will take sort of 5 or 6 weeks, and then it's the local search in particular that takes a long time to come through. But it will go through that entire process. That if it's a cash purchase, what is wrong with me? If it's a cash purchase, I'd be expecting about 4 weeks as a very average time frame, but you can do it a lot quicker. We've done 2 days. If it's bridging, I'd probably say very similar, 4 to 6 weeks. And then if it's mortgage, unless you've got loads of cases on, I'd probably be saying about 8 weeks. Okay, so it gives you a good time scale to be working on. So if somebody says anything 4 weeks or less, I'd absolutely get rid of the mortgage situation, but I'd be open to the bridging and just make sure people are aware of the time scales. If they've got all the time in the world, obviously a mortgage is going to be most common, because then you've got this magic thing called leverage. Okay, and leverage is what makes property so magical, i.e. using 75% debt or a mortgage. So hopefully it just makes a lot of sense going through the whole entire end-to-end process there. So the final 2 bits of this that are really, really, really important is, number 1, get paid. Now, when do you invoice? I invoice and expect to be paid on full exchange. Okay. Now, the reason for this is some people do. I used to do completion. So the line I used to say is, look, you pay a reservation, then the only time that you pay us the rest of our fee is when you complete on the property, you own it, and the keys are in your hand. And it was a nice little line that we'd use, and it'd be like, yeah, that's kind of cool. The problem with that is then we had an exchange with delayed completion where somebody exchanged to complete 9 months later. And guess when we got paid? 9 months later. That was not good, so we switched it to exchange. So as long as it's a full exchange, not conditional, we would get paid on exchange of the property, and we usually invoice them directly or to their solicitor on request. The final thing, and a top tip, the final bit is get a testimonial. Get a testimonial / review. When somebody has exchanged on their property, that is such a release of pressure and a boost of chemicals in the body that just feel great, and you're the person that's made that happen. So at that point, I just say, hey, it'd be really great if I could get a testimonial review from you. Here's an example of one. And you can just draft one out and just say, here's the ideal situation, by the way, but whatever you want to say, it'd just be really grateful. Would you be okay doing that? Amazing. And then I'd put it on Trustpilot, Facebook, whatever it is, because the more social proof you get of what a great job you've done is going to be really powerful. I'm going to give you a final top tip, and then I'm going to sign off from this, okay? Because I realize how long this has been going on for, but hopefully it's been valuable. When to sell people is when you've sold them. I'm going to say that again and write it down. When to sell somebody is when you've sold them. So you'll see it quite a lot when somebody might sell a book online. And then when you buy the book, immediately you go, hey, if you bought the book, why don't you get the audio package with these programs in for 97 quid? You get the example, right? If you go to a football game or something like that and you go and buy a beer and they suddenly manage to sell you this stupid hat that you're never going to wear again for 20 quid with a fan on top of it, right? It's called the upsell. So the best place for you to make it relevant to this is what I'd probably say about 3 weeks into legals. And you'll be shocked at how many additional attachments that we have. So say you're charging a $4,000 fee and a $5,000 fee, and I charge up front of this, okay? What I usually do is 3 weeks in, let's say it's Alex. Alex, I just wanted to check in with you, mate. Are we doing everything we can? Is there anything else we can be doing to make this process smoother for you? Oh, it's brilliant, Jamie. Honestly, just trying to get it through. Amazing. Look, how's the solicitor helping you out? Yep, they're brilliant. I told you they'd be great, didn't I? The broker's all good? Yep, amazing. Look, we're lining up these teams for you in the back end, so we're going to be ready to roll. So let me know if there's anything additional, more value I can give you, mate. I'm here for you. Listen, whilst I've got you, Alex, we're actually doing something quite special right now for existing clients. Now, you mentioned to me before, you're not just looking to buy one property, you're looking to build a portfolio, right? Absolutely. Listen, I want to reward you for being a great customer. If you want to retain me now for finding your next property, I'm going to do a 20% discount on the fee. So instead of paying $5,000 right now, you could pay £4,000. Obviously, we're not going to find it straight away, but if you're wanting to build this portfolio, you need to build this momentum. Are you happy for me to start searching for you in return for that 20% discount? Yeah, why wouldn't they? If they're genuinely looking to build a portfolio, why wouldn't they take your services at 20% off, right? The great thing for you is you're not having to spend marketing to get that person in. You're not having to do all the warming up stuff, which costs you the most money. You're trying to get your clients to go again and again and again and again and carry on buying for you. So hopefully that's been really helpful, guys. That's a full end-to-end process of how you're actually getting and onboarding that investor, the onboarding of a vendor, the end-to-end process, making sure you're getting paid, you're getting your review in place, and a top tip about upselling and reselling, because ultimately you don't need hundreds of investors. You need 10 super loyal fans that are just going to carry on buying properties from you. So if you're new to property, hopefully that's added a load of value and given you some insights. And if you've been in property for a while, hopefully that's just refreshed the memory and maybe filled in some of the blanks that have been missing over the last couple of years of your investment journey. And hey, if you want some investment opportunities, let me know in the comments. I'm sure I can hook you up with some through one of my businesses. But for now, hopefully that's been valuable. If it has, smash the like button. It really does help with the YouTube algorithm and push this video out to help more people just like yourself. And if you're not subscribed already and you want to find out more and learn more about property, make sure to hit that subscribe button and of course the notification bell just to the right of that so that you're one of the first people to find out more. Let me know what you thought in the comments. I'll reply to as many as possible as quickly as I can, and I'll see you guys in the next video.